Welcome to the Department of Transportation and Development, and we're here for a very important safe driving press conference. I'm Sean Wilson, Secretary for the Department of Transportation and Development. As I was thinking and preparing for today's event, my mind brings me back to having a meeting with Adrian and some of our safety folks last week. And I was on my way out the building. I traveled in from Lafayette, and so we were talking about the Chapelay Basin, and she says, you know, the most dangerous time of day for accidents on the Chapelay Basin was about 2:30. I didn't tell you this, but on my way home at about 2:15, guess what we ran across? An accident right at Whiskey Bay. The other thing I'm happy, unfortunately, to report is that we know that October is the most deadliest month in this last year. And then I also took some opportunity to look at some statistics. And since I've been secretary, beginning in 2016, what would you say if I told you that we were going to lose the entire parish of Tensas? Well, in fact, since 2016, we've had 5,571 fatalities, which is greater than the population of Tensas Parish in the state of Louisiana. And then if you look at 16 years of data, 13,610 fatalities on the roads of Louisiana, that would be equivalent to the entire population of Tensas, Cameron Parish, and most of East Carroll Parish. And so when we talk about statistics and we talk about accidents, think about it in the context of actual people, because when we say fatalities, that is exactly what we are referring to. So some of our partners are here today because we know that the majority of traffic-related fatalities between the Thanksgiving and New Year holidays are mostly due to increased travelers. And AAA is here, and we've been talking, and we understand those projections are extremely high for this year. We've already gone through the Thanksgiving holiday with 10 crashes resulting in 10 fatalities. And during that same period of time last year, there were 19 crashes and 25 fatalities. And this year alone, as of today, and you will hear statistics perhaps differently, but as of this very moment, we have had 785 crashes and are reporting 833 fatalities just this year alone. And the board to my right shows you what was there as of December 5th. These are real-time numbers that we're tracking, and it's quite alarming. One death is one too many, and we need to work on getting that number to zero. And Lisa Freeman, who's the director of the Highway Safety Commission, and I talk about the realities that it is possible. It has been done in other places, and we too can do it here in Louisiana. So many of our deaths are preventable, such as driving impaired, not wearing seatbelts, driving distracted, a number of other issues. Safety is, of course, our number one priority at this agency, along with our safety partners, many of whom are represented here today. And we work diligently throughout the year to provide resources and educational material and tools to advance safe driving using local and regional networks. So I encourage drivers to avoid driving while distracted, particularly if you're texting. Please do not drive, because we know those fatalities between Thanksgiving and Christmas that we've seen already are families that will never be the same. Respect our speed limits because they're set for a reason from a design perspective. And then don't drive impaired, whether you're drowsy, you're on medication, or illicit drugs, if there is some reasonable way to say don't drive if you're using drugs illegally. We ask that you buckle up every time because far too many of our fatalities are a result of not being restrained. And then last but not least, respect all of our road users, especially our most vulnerable road users who may be biking, they may be pedestrians, they may be motor assist patrolmen, they may be construction workers or officers working another accident. Please be mindful of those individuals because it's so unpredictable what you will see. It's my hope that these statistics that I've shared and that you will hear from others today will cause you to reduce the risks associated with driving, to ensure that all of our families, that the entire state of Louisiana and all of our extensions will be safe this holiday season. Following me today, speaking, are going to be other key safety partners. From an enforcement perspective, we're going to have Colonel Lamar Davis, who, by the way, celebrated a birthday last week, and he chose not to tell me, and we spent the entire day. I had to get that in. Then Lisa Freeman, who's the director of the Highway Safety Commission, who handles a lot of our educational and promotional materials. Then Rick Artis, who's representing our Motor Assist Patrolman, and then Don Redmond, our AAA partner, who is going to present some numbers and data around holiday travel and the risks associated thereof. And they will come to you in that order, and then we'll be happy to entertain any questions that you might have from the press. Colonel, birthday boy, should I say? Stand next to
As stated, I am Colonel Lamar Davis, Superintendent of the Louisiana State Police. I really want to start by wishing everybody a very Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. You know, as we think about this holiday season, for us, it's about family. It's about togetherness. It's about being there for one another. And it starts with the decisions that we make day in and day out. When you look at all of what we accomplish throughout the year, oftentimes that is negated by just a few bad decisions. Those decisions to leave late, decisions to speed, decisions to rush others and drive aggressively. And those decisions actually end up with loss of life oftentimes. So it's very important to us that, one, you take proper precautions, you plan accordingly, you're extremely safe in your travels, you make good, wise decisions. And as you do so, then you can be with your family throughout the holidays. All too often, and unfortunately for us, troopers across the state have to make those death notifications. And while we understand the numbers and statistics, I will tell you that information to those families are devastating. It's simply devastating. Their lives will never be the same. So I ask, as you go throughout and you're going throughout your holiday season, again, as Dr. Wilson added, wear your seatbelt, obey the speed limits, make sure that you are courteous to other drivers. But I would also add that as you come across those aggressive drivers, you contact us at star 577 or star LSP and notify us of any aggressive drivers and give us an opportunity to intercept them and get them home safely. It's important that we all work together as partners to keep our highways and our roadways safe. And again, not just for the numbers, statistics, but most importantly, because we want you to arrive at your destination and do so in a safe manner. So again, we wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, happy holiday seasons, be safe, be joyous, and be good neighbors to one another, as our governor states. Thank you.
Good afternoon and happy holidays to everyone. You know, it's common at this time of year to hear conversations about gift giving. We often ask, what are you getting Aunt Sarah and Cousin Daryl for Christmas, and your neighbor down the street, and all those other folks who are on your Christmas list? And equally important, we get the questions, what do you want for Christmas? What are you getting this year? There's actually a perfect universal gift out there, one that fits you and everyone on your holiday list. It's the gift of being able to enjoy this Christmas and many, many more in the future. It's the gift of arriving alive. That's a present not just for us, but for all the people in our lives who depend on us and who depend on us to make the right choices when we're traveling throughout the holidays and throughout the year. These are smart decisions by road users. Those things are more important than ever before. Last year's statistics tell us in no uncertain terms that 971 motor vehicle deaths are just unacceptable. The common denominator in crash data from 2021 is the word increase. An increase in fatalities and serious injuries, an increase in interstate fatalities, an increase in deaths among our most vulnerable population, our pedestrians and our motorcyclists. When we analyze what's behind the increases, it's not just a single reason, not just one identifiable cause, because like with most big problems, there's a combination of bad road user behaviors that's at the root of these high numbers. In the traffic safety world, we talk about a deadly quartet, 4 behaviors that contribute significantly to the tragedies on our roadways. And you've heard Dr. Wilson speak of these things. You just heard Colonel Davis also speak of these things. Here they are. It's failing to do the single most important thing that can save your life in a crash, and that's wearing your seatbelt. And it's also making sure that everyone in your vehicle is also properly restrained. What else is it? It's driving while impaired. Whether that impairment is a result of alcohol or prescription medications or some other substance, any of those things individually or in combination, we know that they affect your reflexes, your judgment, and your ability to safely operate a vehicle. What else is it? It's distracted driving. Whether the distraction is inattention because of a cell phone or fiddling with that infotainment center on your dashboard or something else. The point is that driving is the point. So just concentrate on that one big thing. And finally, rounding out that fatal foursome of bad behavior is speeding. You've heard discussions about that. And the sheer physics of a multi-ton machine going so fast, well over the speed limit, in some cases triple-digit speeding, the fact is that if there is a crash, it's simply unsurvivable. These 4 intruders, ones that steal our joy and wreak such havoc in our families and in our communities, they should not be part of our holiday season. Last year, during the Christmas holidays, almost 600 people sustained injuries as a result of traffic crashes, and 14 lives were lost. Holiday time should not be a time of tragedy and loss. It's meant to be a time to expect good things and to hope for better things. Our hope at the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission is that we give ourselves and each other the gift of zero number of lives lost and 0 number of injuries. We, as Dr. Wilson said, we have the power to accomplish this. We have the power to make a Christmas miracle happen. We wield that power in common sense ways by designating sober drivers, by keeping our attention on the roadway, and by always wearing our seatbelt, day and night, short and long trips. That can be the magic of this year's Christmas season. And that's the absolute shiniest gift under anyone's Christmas tree. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Hard to follow all these guys, right? They put out a lot of information. All of it's important. I'm not going to try to repeat it. So what I will do is I will say I agree with everything that's been said up here. And the key point is we can do this together. And as the motorist assistance operations manager for the state of Virginia, I have my guys out there. They're on the road. They're assisting other first responders. They're assisting the motorist out there to clear the roadway and to get everybody back out on the highway safely, to get that flow of traffic back to normal. And as I said, we can do this together. It's not just the first responders. It's not just the firemen, the police officers, the EMS. It's not the motorist assistance patrol operators. It's everyone out there. The law is very clear. Whenever you see emergency lights or anyone on the side of the road with hazard lights, you're supposed to slow down, move over if possible, and proceed past the incident safely and carefully. This year alone, my motorist assistance patrol operators have lost 9 vehicles. We've had one person have to retire because of disabilities because of injuries suffered during an accident, and we've had several others injured. That does not include all of the other first responders. That's just the motorist assistance patrol operators. So I ask everyone out here today to join us because it's a team effort. It's the first responders. It's everybody's responsibility on the roadway to do those things that are safe. The holidays already include stress and more anxiety than usual. Slow down, be careful, and proceed past any incident with care. And if you do see an incident, as the Colonel said, call star 577 or 577, star LSP. Report those aggressive drivers. We can do it together. Thank you so much.
Certainly, while we're on the road, the work that MAP does and other roadside heroes deserve a lot of appreciation. I'm Don Redmond, I'm spokesman for AAA Louisiana. We're anticipating nationwide about 112 million travelers for the Christmas New Year holiday, which is about almost 4 million more than we saw this time last year. 2022 is racking up to be the third busiest year in terms of people traveling since we've been recording in 2000. So for the past 22 years, this is really the third busiest year. And we're really expecting to end the year on a high note. Now, of that 112, about 102 million will be traveling by car, the preferred method of transportation. And for us, where I have my focus on AAA is that we're expecting over 350,000 calls for service from our AAA members. AAA has been providing roadside assistance to its members for over 100 years. AAA and other traffic safety advocates have led the way to getting the passage of the move over laws in all 50 states and Washington, D.C. Yet our research has found that about 25% of drivers are absolutely clueless about the move over law and their legal responsibility to whenever they encounter a vehicle on the side of the road with its emergency lights flashing. In Louisiana, drivers are required to change lanes, if safe to do so, when approaching DOTD vehicles, law enforcement vehicles, tow trucks, motor assistance patrol vehicles, and any vehicle with its lights flashing, including stranded motorists. If drivers can't change the lane safely, then they're to slow down to a reasonably safe speed, and whenever they see one of those vehicles with their flashing lights on. Failing to move over has deadly consequences. In April of 2021, a 23-year-old tow truck operator working on a disabled vehicle on I-12 in Covington, Louisiana, he was killed while assisting that disabled vehicle by a person who chose not to move over. Last month, a 42-year-old tow truck operator in Florida was also killed while assisting a disabled motorist on the roadside. The person who hit him and killed him did not move over. In October, a 42-year-old tow truck operator in Texas was also killed while removing a disabled vehicle. The person that killed him had drifted into his lane and also died in that crash. An average of 24 emergency responders, including tow truck operators, are struck and killed by vehicles while working on the roadside each year, meaning someone in this line of work is killed every other week in America. It's not just tow truck operators and other emergency responders that are being killed on the side of the road. Since 2015, more than 1,600 stranded motorists waiting on the roadside for assistance have been killed by people who did not move over or slow down. This senseless loss of life is completely avoidable if drivers would remain attentive behind the wheel and look ahead for hazards and emergency situations. Just by choosing to slow down, move over, we can all play a part in protecting our emergency roadside workers during the busy Christmas, New Year's, and beyond. Thank you. We're here to highlight the traffic safety for the holidays. AAA's main focus today was on the responsibility of drivers that when they see an emergency vehicle or any vehicle with its emergency lights flashing, to move over, or if you can't move over, to slow down. Our big concern is that we're expecting some really good numbers of people are traveling. Over 107 million Americans will be traveling by car for the holiday, and we're anticipating about 350,000 of our members are going to be stranded needing help. And our concern is that we've been providing roadside assistance to our members for over 100 years, and their safety is a priority for us. Those tow truck operators, we want to make sure that they're able to assist a member, but do so safely and get home safely for the holidays. And so that's our big focus, just to remind motorists that when you see those hazard lights off, and it doesn't have to be a police car, a fire truck, or an ambulance. It's a tow truck, it's the MAP truck, and it's a person who's experiencing a breakdown and have their flashing lights on, that we're to, if you can't move over, at least slow down to reasonably safe. Those roadside heroes, as I like to call them, we lose about two, or we lose a roadside hero once every 2 weeks here nationwide. And these, again, are not just the tow truck operators, but your MAP truck operators, police as well. And so it's just a big reminder. We want to celebrate the holidays, but let's do so safely. And just remember, if you can't move over, slow down when you see somebody on the side of the road.
It's within our power, to chart our destiny in so many ways in our lives, especially on the roadway. We have the power by virtue of the choices we make, and just as importantly, the choices we don't make, to get to our destinations a lot. There are people waiting for us at the other end of that tree. People who count on us, who want to spend decades and lifetimes with us. And when there is a loss of life, it doesn't just affect that family where there's now a hole. It affects the entire community. And after years of COVID and so many, losses in our communities and so many empty chairs at the holiday table, we are not in a position to squander any one of those seats. We want every seat filled. We want there to be joy around that Christmas table and not, the loss and tragedy that motor vehicle crashes bring.
The message is we can do better. The message is there are lots of opportunities out there to really ruin a holiday season and to destroy a family's fabric with senseless fatality. The idea that most people can save their lives, even in an accident, if they just buckle up. That if you didn't drive drunk or distracted or drowsy, you could probably do a much better job of controlling your vehicle. And that there are a lot of vulnerable people out there on the highways, be they construction workers, law enforcement professionals, motor assist patrolmen, or even pedestrians who do not have the opportunity to buckle up or have the defense mechanisms of a bumper. And so think about that when you drive. Be responsible. We have done an amazing job at putting construction zones out there. And if we're going to see more than 4.5 to 5 million people driving this holiday season, I believe the number was 122 plus million people will be on the roads during this holiday season. Those numbers are alarming when you think about the percentage impacts that fatalities will have. And so we just want folks to do better. And when you know better, you do better. And that's what we're thinking about in terms of driver safety and vehicle safety in the state of Louisiana.